Welcome back to Kay's Take, everyone, where this is not his take, this is not her take, but it is Kay's Take. Day one of minicamp was today, and I want to talk about it. I want to talk about who stood out, who could be getting the boot, and what else we could and should be looking forward to in this off season. So let's get into it. As we all know, the Commanders' mandatory minicamp started today. Minicamp is not showing us everything that we're going to see when the season starts, but it's giving us a lot of clues like what David Blough's offense is going to look like. It's showing us how Jayden Daniels is developing, especially because he's going to be playing more under center this year. It's showing us what the heck is going on in our wide receiver room. And there is one rookie who continuously stands out in the offseason. Before we get into all of that, I do want to play a clip from Dan Quinn's presser before minicamp actually started. And I want you guys to really listen and tell me what stood out to you after hearing what he had to say.
Aside from Terry, this wide receiver group, who stood out to you? Who's impressed you kind of during these practices?
Yeah, a number of them have. I would say on the outside, Van Jefferson has been somebody that's really caught my eye. Having Diami back has been excellent as well. I hit him up after practice the other day. There's just like a good intensity about him, a good mindset of where he's at. And so he's somebody that I've been super impressed with just off the bat. It's good to see Lane and McCaffrey making their jumps in. So those are a few that jump to mind. But having Diami back, a fuel of speed, having Van here, he's an excellent route runner going into it. And then inside in the slot, those would be the two that jump out.
If you guys notice, he spoke very highly of Van Jefferson and he spoke highly of De'Ami Brown. Now, I wouldn't read too much into it because Dan Quinn is known to talk about the guys who nobody's really talking about. But he is not the only person that has mentioned Van Jefferson's name. Van Jefferson's name was mentioned a lot in OTAs, and it was mentioned quite a bit today on the first day of mandatory minicamp. It was even said during OTAs that he is probably the fastest wide receiver in our room. So don't count Van Jefferson out. I've been seeing some of your tweets and oh, he's gone, he's gone, he's gone. No, he's not. We kept 6 wide receivers last year. If we decide to go with this roster, with who we have, then that's who it's going to be. And then I would really be curious to see where he's going to fall on the chart and where he will be on the field. Now, we cannot talk about the wide receiver room without talking about Brandon Ayuk. We have all seen his drama vlog series. We have all seen him drop his subliminal hints and throw shade. It is almost inevitable at this point that he is going to be here. We might as well go ahead and accept it. That leads to a different conversation, though. With what I'm hearing about OTAs and the first day of minicamp, granted, I'm not taking any of this as gold because they're not playing with pads on, they're not hitting, it's not anything that's super serious. But from what is being said, if Brandon Ayuk comes, if we only want to go with 6 wide receivers like we did last year, who's going to be the odd man out? Now, we could run with 7 wide receivers, and if that's the case, then everybody stays. But where does that leave us? Not to mention, I'm talking about everybody, and that's outside of the undrafted free agents. Don't forget, we have some undrafted free agents who have also had their names talked about a little bit. So this wide receiver competition, I knew that there was going to be competition, but I did not think it was going to be this deep. And I did not think everybody was going to perform. So that is something that we should be keeping our eye on as well, especially for the duration of the offseason. One of the biggest storylines that we all as Commanders fans were looking for in this offseason was what is Jayden Daniels going to look like? We did not get to see much of him last year, unfortunately, due to his injuries. But this year, we are expecting a lot from him because he gave us a glimpse of what he can do in 2024. So we are expecting that now. For those of you who are new to the Commanders space and those of you who have not really been, keeping up with what's going on, but you're popping in and out, we do have a new offensive coordinator. His name is David Blough. David Blough did work with Jayden Daniels last year, but he is most significantly known because he was under Ben Johnson when Ben Johnson was the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. If you pay attention to the Lions, you know that their offense was amazing under Ben Johnson. And if you want, a little bit more recent doings of Ben Johnson, he is now the head coach for the Chicago Bears. Y'all saw what the Bears did last season, right? Okay, not to hype them up because anyway, but Ben Johnson is essentially he's that guy. So now that we have David Blau, we can expect him to bring some of Ben Johnson's concepts to the Washington Commanders. What that means is, and what he has talked about heavily, is he wants Jayden Daniels to play under center.
It opens up, right, some different schemes in the run game, some things that I believe in. It opens up different play actions and keepers and getting them on the perimeter in different ways. I think there's a level of communication that happens under center. I think there's different ways to go about things, and it's something that I'm convicted about, that with his skill set, his fundamentals, the things that we absolutely loved about him when he first got here still ring true, and as we grow and develop. I think a lot of teams that you saw even playing deep into the playoffs, it was something that was a foundation of what they did, and I think that is something that we will like to implement with him and get him in that position.
You cannot talk about Jayden Daniels without talking about his other half, Terry McLaurin. There's not much to say. Of course, we know that he is probably going to have his best season yet. And that is because David Blau has already talked about what he wants to do with Terry. So there's not much to say there. Of course, he's standing out in the offseason. And what is significant about this is we did not have Terry McLaurin last year in the offseason. And it showed. On top of that, he got injured. Terry has been here in the offseason day one, rekindling and reconnecting with Jayden Daniels. We've seen it in the OTAs. Didn't see much of it today. I think they said that it was more so of the deaf players that were on the main field. But I'm sure that Terry McLaurin and Jayden Daniels, that is the least of my worries. So, of course, we can already expect, and like I said, we can expect Terry to have his best year yet. A rookie that I want to talk about that has continuously been making strides is Sonny Styles. Not that I'm shocked. I knew he was going to be something special when he got here, but he is already being praised for how quick he's picking up the defense. He's being praised for his leadership skills, and he's being praised for being a strong communicator. Last year, if you paid attention to our defense, and this could just be me, but it did not look like they were really communicating. And it sounds like it's something that they wanted to address in the offseason. And Dan Quinn seems to be very pleased with how the communication is going. And that Sonny Styles is a big part of that communication. Sonny Styles played in Ohio State, and he was a linebacker with safety traits. But here, he's going to probably be our hybrid defender. And if you do not know, Durante Jones was under Brian Flores with the Minnesota Vikings, and we all know how their defense was. Brian Flores ran a very aggressive defense.
I think if you like to run, hit, play fast, it's the perfect defense for you. You don't got to do a whole lot of crazy thinking. I think we're a multiple defense, but it doesn't feel like crazy for us. The way he teaches information, it's easy to digest.
And now that we have Durante Jones, who came from under him, and having a player like Sonny Styles, we could probably see a lot of disguises. Durante Jones is probably going to just have his way with Sonny Styles, and I'm here for it. I mean, why not? He is a 6'5", 240-pound linebacker that can move like a safety, keep up with some of the top tight ends and running back. Oh, God. The possibilities are endless for Sonny Styles, and I am very ecstatic to hear that he is doing well. Another competition that is heating up is our running back competition. One of the biggest stories from OTAs last week was whether or not Bill was all right. We saw him on the field at one point, and then he was pulled off by his trainer and did not participate in any of the OTA activities. But minicamp came around and he did participate today, and he looked good. Not only was Bill on the field, but Bill has been pumping iron this entire offseason. Bill got some size to him, okay? I just hope it didn't mess up his speed. But it didn't look like it. He looked good when he was on the field. But this is very interesting because last year we had four running backs on the team. Right now we have a competition of five. We have Bill, Rashad, Katron Allen, Jerome Ford, and Jeremy McNichols. Jerome Ford had a very good OTA. Katron Allen seems like he's making strides. Of course, we know Bill and Rashad, they're probably gonna be our one and two, but do we really truly need a one, two, and three? If we think about how Ben Johnson ran his offense, if we're expecting David Blough to do the same thing, then the running back room could be more of like a committee because we know we're going to need one for explosiveness, we're going to need one for physicality, and then we're going to need one to be that situational guy, like what's going on, third down, red zone. Like we need different bodies for different things. So I'm just curious to see how this is going to turn out. Me right now, I don't know who will be the odd man out. What do you guys think? Some of my biggest takeaways and winners from day one of minicamp are Jayden Daniels. Of course, he's learning a new offensive scheme. He had a tough year last year, so I wasn't really expecting his confidence to come back this early, but it's back and he's better. And why not? He's always going to be a winner in my book. Sonny Styles, that is our rookie. Bobby Wagner was going to be a hard position to fill. He is able to fill it. He has already been making strides, and it's been talked about his communication. And not only that, but he's more versatile and athletic than Bobby Wagner was at this point in his career anyway. So that's just a plus for us. And this is not a coach, but David Blough. David Blough's a winner to me because he has never been an offensive coordinator before, but he's here. He's learning the players. He's learning how to use them. He's learning what works, what doesn't work, and he's coming from under Ben Johnson, so he's able to see and learn from a guy like that. Bring those concepts here, use them for our players, and it sounds like it's working. So what was your biggest takeaway from minicamp? What are some things that you liked? What are some things that you haven't liked? Or do you have any concerns? Or do you think we're in a good space? You know what to do. Leave it in the comments and we'll chop it up. I will talk more about the defense after day 2 of minicamp, depending on what is put out. You guys know I am an offensive girly. I love explosive offenses, and that's the direction that it sounds like we're headed in. So yeah, put it in the comments. We'll chop it up. Thank y'all for kicking it with me. I will not leave you guys hanging like I did. But thank you for all who reached out, checked on me. Everything is good. Peace, love, and blessings to you all. I will see you in the comments. Hail to our commanders.